Hey everybody, I didn't realize I didn't have my camera where I wanted it to be yet. This is a video I'm making for a friend who is hangs out in our Facebook group, and so anyhow, the question was, and I'm doing this live, so excuse me for this being weird, but basically if you've ever had the problem, and this is shown on a Spinolution Echo, I feel like I also, I don't think it's exclusive to this wheel type or wheel brand, but this is being shown on a Spinolution Echo, so your wheel may be slightly different, but the problem in question was like, help, when I'm two-plying, my fiber is getting wrapped around in between the orifice bar and the bobbin, and this isn't a huge problem that I have super often, but it has happened to me before. And here, let me get the camera up here. Hold on. Hey, I've got to get my camera situated where I can show you what I'm talking about. So, all right, now I have two hands. So what the problem is, and of course, it's one of those things that when you start trying to demonstrate the problem, you can't get the problem to recreate itself in order to to make the video. So I actually twisted this up by hand by myself. But what has happened to me in the past, and it's frustrating, and that's how you fix it, is if you are two-plying, the general idea is that, and this is just for the sake of this video, some funny little balls of singles that I hopefully will have enough of. But so I was pretending I was two-plying these. So I've got them attached to the leader thread, and then I always two-ply over on the left side and just bring it this way. And so ideally, you're two-plying and the fiber goes just like this and spins around and, travels from here, around here, and then wraps onto the bobbin. There goes Julie. But the problem that this person was having, if I read her messages correctly, and what I have encountered occasionally myself, and this is where I was trying to recreate this naturally, and of course I couldn't manage to do it, but the general problem is when it kind of pops off or gets loose here. So if it gets loose on your flyer pegs and then kind of wraps itself, like if it gets loose and then the flyer pegs kind of, and with me, this would happen without me really realizing that it had happened, and it gets wrapped kind of this way around your bobbin, and then as you're plying, and it would still be on the hook, you're plying, and usually I would notice it where I was like, my uptake's weird. Like, why is my uptake not working? Because I would manage to do this and then not know that I'd actually done it. And so then I would generally notice it after I'd, been sitting here plying, watching TV, minding my own business. And then all of a sudden I'd be kind of like, why is my yarn getting weird? Which this yarn's getting weird because it's just two little balls. And then I would look and notice that I'd actually managed to wrap the yarn, kind of got it caught in this little funny area right here. And the way I always solved this, at least on the Spinolution, is really easy. Just pop that off and then, put your yarn back where it's supposed to be and put your orifice bar back on. So, I mean, that's your first line of defense, is just pop off the orifice bar. It easily pops right off. It's not a big deal. Put it right back and then just keep spinning. But that is clearly an irritating problem to have. Like I said, this is not a humongous problem for me personally, but when I have noticed that this has happened to me, it's usually when I'm watching TV or talking to somebody while two-plying and not really paying attention. And I feel like if my tension is maybe not tight enough, like if my tension's not strong enough for two-plying, and it's also usually I feel like when my bobbin's fuller, which obviously it's not right now, that if my bobbin was fuller, so the yarn, instead of coming off the rod like lower down, like, if it's fuller, it's going to be more up here, so it's maybe hitting my flyer peg at like a different angle than here. See how that would affect the angle? So I feel like with me, it most commonly happens on a fuller bobbin if I'm not paying attention, and usually if I feel like I'm letting this hand, when I'm two-plying normally and not having problems, I keep my hand kind of pulled back. And here, this yarn is totally fighting with me because it's just in little funny balls. This is not working. But, yeah, so please excuse this terrible looking yarn right here. But, I like to keep my hands kind of pulled back because, oh man, this is embarrassing. My two little balls are not working. But if you keep the tension pulled back, then you're keeping it where there's not getting slack in the yarn right here. I think the problem happens when you've got a fuller bobbin. So maybe if you're on this is a big 16-ounce bobbin, so, it's hard to fill these up. But if you had a smaller bobbin, one of the 8s or the 4s, or just a different brand wheel where maybe your fiber, is wrapping in from off here, so you've got this weird angle anyhow. And then if you're treadling too fast and letting your hands kind of be loosey-goosey up here, like if you're doing kind of a bunch of back and forth motion, and this is the worst yarn you've ever seen me spin. If you're loose here, then it's got more play where it can pop off. So I think it's a combination of too fast feet, possibly the angle, which you can't control, of, a fuller bobbin, and then looser hands. So I would say my first suggestion is always slow down your feet. You don't want to be pulling against your wheel, but you definitely don't want to be just like, super loose. So I would always compare it to like walking a dog. So I would say slow down your feet and then keep an even tension here. And you're just wanting to make sure that the yarn is going smoothly from your hand to the hook to the pegs without there being any sort of herky-jerkiness or looseness. Because I think the other problem is with the feet. Like I said, if you're doing your feet too fast, so, you're getting overly excited watching Game of Thrones and you're doing your feet too fast, and because, it's a tense scene. And then if your yarn's getting twisty here, that also just the natural twist, in combination with the other stuff, can make where this could be hopping. So basically you're wanting to just keep a nice tension from your hand to the hook and over to the flyer pegs where they're not hopping up over the side. I hope that helps. So I would say slow your feet down. And you may need to adjust. This is on, and y'all know I'm pretty boring. Y'all know I'm pretty boring with my settings. You may need to just adjust what gear you're on, and it'll be different for every spinner, but you're trying to find your optimum. And I know my spinning 2-ply, if I'm 2-plying or chain plying, I like a stronger uptake, a little bit stronger uptake than if I'm just spinning singles. And that might just be me. But, yeah, I like that stronger uptake because it's taking it from me and wrapping it around on there. I would say definitely, I think having a fuller bobbin is a problem. So if you have a fuller bobbin, I mean, not a problem, but just be more conscious, to watch that. And what you're mainly wanting to do is just make sure that it's not jumping off the pegs and then getting caught and wrapping. Here, let me show you this again. So what you don't want it to do is to start jumping the pegs and then wrapping this way. And I don't even know how I have occasionally managed to do this, but that's what you don't want it to do. It's when it jumps off the left side and then starts wrapping like that. That's what you don't want it to do. And like I said, I mean, it's an easy fix. Just pop that off and then you're, put it back and you're off to the races again. But you want to do whatever gear setting is going to give you. So you might want to, I mean, for everybody, it could be different. I would try going up and down a ratio in the back just to see if one makes it easier versus harder. And I would also keep my hand not pulling hard, but just a slight, maybe a little bit more tension this way towards your body to just keep that taut so that it's not, doing anything crazy. So anyhow, I hope that helps. So I wanted to do this live just because I, by the time I filmed this and edited it and got it up here, it would, be like 3 days from now. So hopefully that is helpful. If you have any advice on that I did not cover, that's what has helped me. Like I said, that's not a common problem, but I have mainly noticed it with a full bobbin when I'm not paying attention. So, and with 2-plying. So anyhow, hope that helps, and I will talk to y'all later.